sense of it, a loud click echoed through the train, startling everyone. The train screeched to a halt. Passengers gasped and muttered in confusion. Someone shouted, asking if it was a terrorist attack. Turning to Sangha, Dokja asked if she was okay. She nodded anxiously and asked him what was happening. He told her not to worry. It was probably nothing. Inside, though, Dokja couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. It was exactly 7 p.m. Then an announcement came over the train's intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Evacuate. Please evacuate immediately." Fear spread among the passengers. Sangha clutched her bag and asked Dokja again what was going on. Before he could answer, a strange red light began to glow from the front doors of the train, and then through the light, a disembodied voice echoed. "The free service of the 8612th planetary system has come to an end. The main scenario will begin now." It was a dokaebi. Dokja wasn't sure why that thought suddenly popped into his mind. Yet the opening lines of a very familiar story kept echoing through his head. He told himself it was impossible. It couldn't be. It didn't make any sense. Sangha, confused, repeated the word aloud. "A dokaebi?" Dokja, startled, glanced at her and asked, "Sorry?" Pretending he hadn't heard her. Realistically, he thought, there was no way it could be true. It was completely impossible. And yet, there it was. Everyone on the train had turned toward the glowing red light. A moment later, a fluffy white creature with sharp horns materialized in front of them. In Korea, such a being was called a dokaebi. Shock rippled through the passengers. Murmurs filled the air as people tried to make sense of what they were seeing. Fiction and reality had overlapped. The creature spoke, but the words came out in an unintelligible language. A schoolgirl nearby asked what the creature was saying, and a schoolboy muttered that it might be some kind of augmented reality gimmick, before sneering that the creature was ugly. But Dokja knew the truth. No one else understood what was happening, but he recognized the creature immediately. This was the very dokaebi described in the opening paragraph of 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse. In the novel, this creature signaled the beginning of a tragedy that unfolded across thousands of chapters. Impossible, Dokja thought. How could it be here? Sangha, still trying to make sense of it all, guessed, "I think it's speaking Spanish. Should I try talking to it?" Nervously, Dokja warned her, "You don't even know what that thing is. Are you going to ask it to lend you money?" Sangha gave an awkward laugh. "Well, no, but..." Before she could say more, the dokaebi coughed and spoke again, this time clearly. "Testing, testing. Can everyone hear me?" Gosh, the language patch was malfunctioning for a bit. It said in perfect Korean. It then shouted, "Can everyone hear me now?" One man, looking irritated, shouted back, demanding to know if they were filming some kind of movie. He complained that he had an audition to get to. The dokaebi tilted its head thoughtfully. "An audition at this hour? Huh, guess I should have done more research. They told me this was peak time, around 7 p.m., for the highest customer engagement." The man, growing angrier, asked what the creature was talking about. The dokaebi waved its arms for attention. "Okay, everyone, please calm down. Why don't you take a seat and listen? I have something very important to tell you." Another man shouted from across the train, demanding that they get the train moving and warning that they couldn't detain people without consent. He insisted on compensation. A little girl tugged at her mother's sleeve and asked if the creature was from a cartoon. The murmurs grew louder and more chaotic. Dokja knew he had to do something. He was the only one who understood what would happen next. Panic flared in his chest. He quickly told Sangha, "Don't move." She blinked at him in confusion. "Sorry?" At that moment, the dokaebi's expression twisted into a sneer. It said mockingly, "It sure is noisy here, isn't it?" Then, with a chilling anger, it shouted, "I told you to be quiet." Before anyone could react, the man who had first spoken up, the one complaining about his audition, suddenly exploded, his body collapsing lifelessly to the floor. Gasps and screams erupted. Blood splattered across the train's floor. And then, without hesitation, the dokaebi casually blew up the heads of 5 more people. As it floated above the carnage, it snarled, "We're not filming a movie. This isn't a dream or a novel, and it certainly isn't the reality you're familiar with. Do you understand?" Dokja clenched his fists, anger and horror rising in him. He didn't want to accept it, but there was no denying it now. This was real. His doubts and disbelief crumbled as he stared at the blood-soaked floor. The Dokaibi grinned wickedly and asked the survivors, "All of you have had a cushy life up until now, haven't you? Breathing, eating, excreting, reproducing, without paying the cost." Laughing madly, it continued, "You've all been living privileged lives, but it's over now. Nothing in life is free. Isn't that right?" The passengers trembled with fear. A man in a business suit, someone Doksha recognized as Mr. Han from the finance team, stepped forward bravely. Doksha turned to Sangha and asked quietly, "Isn't that Mr. Han?" She nodded, watching anxiously. Holding out a handful of bank checks, Mr. Han tried to reason with the Dokaibi. "If it's money you want, I'll give you as much as you need. This is what I do for a living. Name your price. 1 million? 2 million? The Dokaibi's eyes twinkled with amusement. "You're offering me money?" Mr. Han smiled confidently. "Yes, as much as you want. Just let us out of here." The Dokaibi snapped its fingers. The checks in Mr. Han's hands instantly caught fire, burning to ash. It explained coldly, "Money is good. It's an object that signifies an intersubjective agreement between humans. But it only holds value within your own little dimension. Out here, it's worthless." The Dokaibi fixed Mr. Han with a chilling stare. "Consider this your first and last warning. Try a stunt like that again, and I'll blow your head up too." The Dokaibi then clapped its hands together, the sound echoing through the tense air. "There's no time for small talk," it said. "Your debt is piling up by the second. I won't explain any further. It's faster if you figure it out yourselves." With another snap of its fingers, its horns grew longer, and its body rose high above the terrified crowd. It announced grandly, "Channel Hepper BI 7623 has opened. The constellations are now making their entrance." Without warning, a transparent blue window appeared before everyone's eyes, displaying a message. "Main scenario arrived. Prove your value. Kill one or more living organisms. Category, main. Difficulty, F. Time limit, 30 minutes. Reward, 300 coins. Penalty for failure, death." Floating above them, the Dokaibi cackled gleefully. "Well then," it said, voice dripping with excitement, "good luck, everyone! I expect to see a very entertaining story." And with that, the Dokaibi vanished, leaving behind only silence and horror.